You're a reseller, and deep down you know that your sales are not as big as they could be. Not because you're not giving it enough effort, because you're giving it your best, but you know that you're missing something. Because selling the right product doesn't always equal success. Another important element is timing. You might think that this one is obvious, that you're not going to sell jumpers and jackets in summer. But it's not just about that. You have to also follow trends and flow with the market. Because sometimes even something that you think would do good will perform bad, just because the market has already moved on. Without this in mind, imagine yourself in few months wasting your time trying to sell something that is not selling. Right now, you might be thinking that whenever you see that something sells fast, you'll just sell that and wait for another time to sell the remaining storage. But thinking like that could cost you money. When you're reselling products, you want to think in advance. Whenever you're buying something, just ask yourself if after the 1.5 weeks after it arrives and after you post it, if it's still going to sell and if there will be enough time to sell it. If even one answer to these questions is going to be no, then don't buy the item. For those who don't know me, hi, I'm Dan and I'm doing reselling just to make some extra money. I still go to school and on this YouTube channel, I'm helping others to make some extra money too. I have 3 years of experience of reselling and I can say that I have experience selling a lot of items, from toys to electronics, to books, to clothing. First item that is absolutely going crazy right now are the dumpling squishies. If you watch my videos often, then you already heard about this one. Dumpling squishy and all the squishy toys are going absolutely viral on platforms like TikTok and Instagram, and the demand has increased. You have to treat it like every other collectible item. Do you remember the Labubu dolls that were so popular exactly 1 year ago? I created a video about how to resell those, so you can search for some inspiration there. But of course, after watching this video. So where to buy these dumpling and other squishies? On platforms like Temu and Shein. These platforms offer these squishies for very low prices, which gives you a chance to resell those squishies for double or even triple the original price. But with trends like this, you need to be careful. When you start to see less and less videos of it on social media, that could mean that people aren't as interested in squishies as they were in the beginning, which could result in people not buying them anymore. Because the speed of downfall of these trends is as fast as the speed of their rising. Fans and ACs. Guys, it's literally melting outside. The temperatures in Europe are very high this weekend. For example, when in Italy was about 32 degrees, it was cooler in Egypt. It was about 30 degrees. It's hard to fall asleep, and when you open your window at night, the air is still hot and your sleep quality is bad. So many people go and buy a fan or an AC, but everyone wants to buy a fan. The shops are not prepared for that, so they're not in stock. And when the demand is higher than the supply, this is where your chance of making good money comes. And when such an opportunity appears, you want to milk it to the utmost limits, understood? This isn't actually the first time we've seen something like this happen. One of the most famous examples in history is something called the tulip mania, which took place in the Netherlands during the 1600s. At the time, tulips became incredibly popular, especially rare varieties that were difficult to find. As more and more people wanted them, demand kept increasing, but the supply stayed limited. Naturally, prices started rising. Eventually, people weren't just buying tulips because they liked them. They were buying them because they believed they could sell them later for even a higher price. The market became driven by the expectations that prices would continue going up. Of course, that couldn't last forever. Once demand started slowing down, prices fell dramatically, and many people who had paid huge amounts of money ended up losing a lot of it. Now, I'm definitely not saying that air conditioners or the products I'm talking about today are another tulip mania. The situations are completely different, but they both demonstrate the same basic economic principle. When demand becomes much higher than supply, prices usually increase. Understanding that principle is one of the most valuable valuable skills you can have as a reseller. If you can identify products that people suddenly need or desperately want before everyone else does, you have a much better chance of making successful sales. Because reselling is not just about finding few products to resell and resell them for a few years, but you have to constantly adapt to the game. And the most active and learning players make the most money. Summer clothing. I know this one might seem kinda obvious, but I still have to mention this one here. People are going to tropical destinations, to all-inclusive hotels, and especially women don't like to be seen with one outfit more than once. But buying all that clothes new would be a lot of money. And let's be honest here, if you just spent $2,000 on your hotel, you don't want to spend another $400 just on clothing. Yes, clothing can be very expensive these days. So what most of the people do, they go on Vinted and search for interesting pieces there. And also, not everybody has enough of summer clothing for these hot days. So most of the people go to Vinted to buy shorts or shirts at last minute. So where should you go looking for these pieces? The best places are garage sales. People just want to get rid of their old stuff, and most of the time the people are willing to go very low with the prices. I would say secondhands, but most of the secondhand stores these days are just too expensive, so it's not worth it to try to resell it. Because if you're reselling, always buy your stuff for the lowest price possible. When pricing items where the demand is big enough, you don't want to stretch the prices too high and wait to see how high can you price the item and people are still going to buy it. Consistent lower profits are better than less often huge profits. And summer clothing brings us to a piece of clothing, linen pants. Every year, linen pants are more and more popular. And if I'm going to be honest here, I find them extremely interesting and comfortable to wear. And when you have one pair of them in one color, you want to get them in other colors so you could wear them almost every day. And the best thing about linen pants is that you can wear them in the spring, in the summer, and in autumn, which means that you can sell them for about 5 months, which is a lot of time compared to other items we had here today. And honestly, when you look at all of these products together, there's one thing that stands out way more than anything else. As I said in the beginning, it's not about the product itself, it's about timing. Because the same item can behave completely differently depending on when you list it. Something like summer clothing, linen pants, or even air conditioners might sit on Vinted for a few weeks at one point of the year and then suddenly sell within hours, just because the demand changes. And that's kind of the interesting part about platforms like Vinted and eBay. It's not a traditional store where things sell at a steady pace. It's more like a live market that reacts to weather, trends, social media, and even what people are currently thinking about. One week nobody cares about a product, the next week it's everywhere. And the people who notice that shift early are usually the ones who benefit the most. Whether that's buying something cheaper before the hype or selling something right when the demand peaks. But the key takeaway from all this is pretty simple. Trends don't last forever. What's selling fast today might slow down completely in a few weeks, and something completely different will take its place. That's why I think the real skill on Vinted isn't just listing items, it's understanding what people actually want right now in this exact moment. And I think that's something that a lot of people underestimate. Anyway, I'd be really interested to hear your opinion. What do you think is selling the fastest on Vinted right now? Or have you noticed any weird trends yourself that suddenly blew up? Drop it in the comments, I might use your ideas for part 2. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I'm planning to make more content like this, breaking down what actually sells and why. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.